Hey y'all, today we're going to talk about several things. I want to do the announcements for first this time, and then we will go ahead and go on down and talk about workplace communication. And an exciting assignment that I'm going to have you do that I'm really excited about, and I hope you are too. The first thing that I want to talk about is that I think in these times we really need to have some freedom, some flexibility. And so while I'm not going to change the amount of points that your grade is calculated based off of 100, so it's easy to track your grade, I'm going to give you significantly more, I'm going to say significantly, I'm going to give you more than 100 points possible to earn, so that if you miss some assignment, it's not a big deal, you just do a different one. But you'll still have to turn it in by the due dates. But if this gives you some flexibility to kind of choose your own destiny, to pick and choose what you want to do in the course, while still making sure that you cover each of the topics. That'll be pretty simple to do. But instead of 3 remaining quizzes, I might put 4 or 5 up. Instead of, I think we have like 13 points of in-class activities up for grabs. I may do more than that, and some of them may be required, whereas others are from the pick and choose genre, so that you can supplement your grade as you need to. And then once you hit this total score of what you're happy with for your final grade, you're done, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Or you can continue doing it, and if you really love the course, which is great too. I'd be happy for that to be your option, but let's just get real. We're all just trying to survive and thrive at this point. So let's go ahead and keep going. The next thing on my agenda of things that I want to talk about is the discussion board responses. For some reason, Canvas won't let me put like a specific due date for you to respond to people. And so let's make it the Thursday after a discussion board is due. Your responses to that discussion board are due. So that gives you almost a whole week to respond to what people have said. So let's try to keep that to Thursday after the original due date. Next, let's talk about org cultures. So, one of the best predictors of whether or not a company is going to be a successful company, meaning that they're actually going to have good profit, is turnover. So turnover is one of the largest expenses for an organization. And so what causes people to leave is not as much money as you would think, but actually them loving their job and feeling valued and feeling like they're a part of a group of people that they want to be around. So having a pleasant experience at work versus making a whole lot of money actually will predict turnover a little bit. So let's talk about how do we get to a point where we understand how people are experiencing that work. So there's a type of study that people do, that researchers can do, and that consultants do, which is an organizational culture analysis. So this is where someone will go in, they'll do research on all of the paper that's associated with all of the logos, with all of the formal communication that's external to the company. So going from people in the company to people outside the company. So that may be including pamphlets and websites, and then they may also look at the communication within the company. So what's the paper like? What are the handbooks like? What's the training like? And then it gets to more and more informal communication. So they'll go in and observe and survey and interview people. Like, what are your experiences? Then they may go watch meetings. They may go sit in as trying to be incognito, but like as an observer of how they actually interact with each other. How do they spend time with each other? How do they talk to each other? What's the level of formality here at different times? So there's some specific things that they're going to be looking for within the culture. They're going to be looking for symbols. So these may be things like logos. They may be things like statues or pictures on the wall. It may be like name tags that have different things on it. It could be little symbols for an award. They also look at rituals. So what are things that they do repeatedly? Is there a certain way that they greet each other? Are there more formalized rituals that are Like every year we have these specific events, like homecoming here, or like scholarship symposium would be a ritual that we do at Union. Who are the characters? So different people at a workplace are going to have different, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like they'll be characterized in specific ways. So you may have professors that have specific nicknames, or who may become mascots or caricatures of themselves. You may have, there's always someone in the office who's kind of klutzy. So you'll have the klutz, then you'll have the person who's highly motivated, the type A person, then you'll have the slacker who's just trying to get by. So these are the characters that we're talking about. You'll also have sayings. So there's repeated phrases. So at Union, it may be the 4 pillars, or like the excellence driven, people focused, all of those. It could be different things that you heard when you were being recruited onto campus, or when you were being moved on campus. Same with sayings. There may be specific sayings that you share. And these are all inherent to any organization that you're a part of. There may be certain sayings. There's going to be stories that are regurgitated. Some of them are more formal. Some of them are more informal. So there's some stories that Deb probably tells every year at the beginning to the new students that you could probably regurgitate yourself. There may be stories that in honors that you may hear over and over, or in specific classes, or from people older in the organization, so upperclassmen, those kinds of things. There's also going to be policies that are talked about frequently that also inform what the culture is like, that dictate what that culture is like. So if there's a policy that you have to enter the building a specific way, that's going to set the tone for how interactions go after that way that you have to enter the building. Or if there's specific policies about attire, then that's going to set tones for how people interact with each other as well. Now, some of these things are very formal, like, say, policies and any external communication, and a lot of the internal communication from top to down. All the policies are probably pretty formal, but then there's also going to be some informal policies that maybe you always celebrate people's birthdays with specific rituals. That may be an informal policy. Or you always make sure that you do something specific for someone. Or on Fridays it's casual Friday or something. Or there's maybe some informal policies that we don't share with the upper management because that might actually get us in trouble, or different things like that. All of those things come together to determine how is a person interacting and assimilating into that culture. How are they interacting with others? How are they going to feel about their ability to do their job and to feel happy and satisfied in their job? I had a professor in grad school who said, I care more about my work relationships because I spend more waking hours with the people I work with than with my family. And he said that kind of tongue in cheek, like he said it as a joke, but he also really did mean it in a way that he wanted to make sure that he was investing in the relationships around him, especially as he was a department head. And so he really cared about making sure that he was making the environment that he was working in a really healthy one for those not only that he was leading, but that were leading him. And so he was trying to be a positive influence. That doesn't mean that he neglected his family. Never met them, don't know. I sure hope it doesn't mean that. But it really does. How we communicate with each other sets the tone for how pleasant our workplace is. Joking is really important. Clearly, it's going to impact how we feel about our job. And whenever we start feeling like we aren't a part of the group, or like we aren't appreciated, or that people don't notice us, that's when we start to feel more disengaged in the workplace, and we're more likely to leave an organization, is if we're starting to feel like we're not a part of the group of people. So now what I want you to do is, I think it's really important that you stay connected with your classmates. And so I would like for you, this is one of those mandatory assignments where everyone needs to do it. There on Canvas will be an assignment description for you quite shortly, if there isn't already at the time of your viewing this, where I want you to work with your posses and create a representation of Union's culture. Now, you can do this pre and post COVID-19, or you can do it however you want. I want you to have some freedom. It's going to take the place of one of your quizzes, but this would be quiz three, and I need everyone to do it. So this could be, I want this to be really creative. This could be a picture, it could be a video, it could be a skit, a song, I don't care. I just want you to capture Union's culture, pulling from those symbols, those rituals, the characters, the sayings, the stories, the policies, the formal and informal, the values of the organization. Whatever you think is important whenever you're capturing what it's like to be a student at Union, either pre or post-COVID or a mixture of both. So you're answering this big question of what is it like to be a part of Union's culture. I'm really excited to see what you come up with. I think this is going to be really fun, but I'm also really well aware that this is going to take some time, so I'm going to give you I'll give you into next week to complete it. And I'll try to send out an announcement right now to also get this on your radar so that you go ahead and start working on it. Reach out to your posses, love on each other, check up on each other. And just remember, guys, I love you and I hope that you're all doing okay. Bye.